Hey, what's ready? Welcome back to News Dose, and we got a big story today that changes things quite a bit for Xbox's next generation console. I mean, we keep hearing about this thing, and the more details that comes out, it does kind of indicate that it could be a digital-only console. Now, the thing about that is that for anybody who has a large physical library, there is that inevitable question of, well, will I be able to play that collection on the next generation Xbox? And well, if anything else, it sounds like Xbox is exploring that idea as we speak, and we're going to get all of that today, as well as a new Switch 2 bundle that could move a lot of units before its eventual price hike. Before we get into things, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. Let's go get right into things, though, starting off with Sony's latest first-party outing, being Saros. Now, it has been reviewing very well. It currently has an 87 overall score on Metacritic, but commercially, things haven't exactly been going super well for Sony. According to Alinea Analytics, for its first 2 weeks on the market, it's only reached around 300,000 units sold, which is actually a bit slower than Housemarque's previous game, being Returnal. Now, personally, I think that comes down to really two different things. The first of which is just how packed this year has been so far. I mean, say what you want about the state of gaming, but 2026 has been popping off with games like Resident Evil 9, there's Pragmata, Forza Horizon 6 is right around the corner, then there's 007, Crimson Desert launched not all that long ago, and the list just goes on and on and on. So it's easy to see how a game, even if it's good, could get buried among all these other titles. But then there's also this. We never really saw a lot of buzz for Saros leading up to its release, and I think a part of that is because it comes off as a spiritual successor to Returnal. Now, to some people, that might be a good thing because Returnal was a good game, but Returnal was never a massive success in the first place. I mean, it started off strong, but it wasn't received nearly as well as its critics score. When it first launched, a lot of people complained that it was too punishing for a roguelike title. It was already too late, and I think because of that, it also has hurt Saros to some degree, which is too bad. And just to be clear, I don't think the complaints was that it was too difficult, but rather the way they handled its progression system for a roguelike just wasn't handled all that well. Now, they later on fixed that problem with some different updates, but I think for a lot of people, it was already done too late, and I think because of that, it also has hurt Saros to some degree, which really is too bad. Now, I haven't played it myself yet. Again, there's a lot of other games out right now, but I am interested and I do want to play it eventually because it seems like a really good game. And I do like Housemarque. They're known for their quality, but this does kind of beg the question, should we be concerned about Housemarque as a studio? You know, Sony has shut down a lot of studios this generation, so some fans are concerned about that, but I think in this case, they will be fine. They have been delivering quality titles, and they don't take nearly as long to develop games as some of their other studios. So that does bode well for them, or at least in my opinion. Now, we also got an update from Sega because they just officially canceled their Super game project that we've been hearing about for years and years. Now, we never really actually saw this game, but the idea seemed to be for a new live service project that would connect a lot of their other franchises into whatever this game would end up being. And presumably, that's one of the reasons that they've been reviving a lot of their older franchises. So as soon as people heard about its cancellation, there was that immediate question about those revivals. You know, are they safe and will they continue to make more? Now, the good news here is that the games that they've been making, which includes Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, and Jet Set Radio, are perfectly safe, or at least for the time being. However, the reason Sega canceled the Super game project is because they noticed that there's been a lot of competition, and just given their business conditions, they backed off. Now, personally, I view that as a smart decision because I don't think live service games in the year of 2026 is a safe bet. I've been saying that for years on the channel anyways. I think a lot of companies are starting to learn that, yeah, these type of games are extremely risky and they cost a ton of money for upkeep. So it's a lot of money that can even sink a studio if they don't see that immediate success. And because of all that, Sega is moving on. All right, let's go talk about Xbox and their new physical to digital program that just leaked thanks to Windows Central's Jez Corden. He just put out a big article that goes over a number of different things that he's been hearing about. Now, I do recommend reading his full article. It's very well read because he really is a wealth of information and has earned a lot of trust over the years for a very, very good reason. In this case, though, he's been hearing about a new program titled Positron, which will turn your physical Xbox games into digital licenses. Yeah, let's just go and read it here because there's a lot that comes with this story. He said, and I quote, "Codename Positron, from what we can tell, could be some form of disc-to-digital entitlement program. The details here are incredibly scant right now, and investigations are ongoing. It might not be exactly as it seems right now from the details that we've received, so take this with a huge pinch of salt and a healthy dose of speculation for now. But it would make sense. I thoroughly expect the next generation Xbox Helix console PC hybrid to be without a disk drive. Hence, I've received about the nature of the box increasingly point to the idea that it will be a fully digital system, similar to today's gaming PCs, laptops, and most modern devices. Exactly how this will work wholly remains to be seen. I presume Microsoft would need to somehow render the license on the disk defunct remotely after conversion. If they didn't, you would in theory be able to take the disk and share the license out to dozens of people for free entitlements, and I can't imagine publishers would be happy with that. So clearly, there will be some limitations if, indeed, it's real. And that's kind of the thing about this program. I think depending on how it's handled, there is a very specific type of consumer that will, yes, love this program. Maybe they've already decided, or maybe they're considering the move over to digital, so this will fully convert them, all while bringing their library over to Xbox Helix. However, for people like myself who prefers physical games, this is not going to move the needle. Personally, if it makes my physical library moot, then I'm not going to convert my games to digital. Even still, though, I think it's cool that they're at least trying to figure out some kind of workaround, but honestly, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think they should stop with just this program. Again, I think this program will be very nice for a specific type of person that wants to move their games to digital, or if they've already been moving to digital and they still have some of their games in that physical library. But what I think they should do is to also take a page out of Sony's book. They can do this program all they want, but I think what they should do is, follow the PlayStation 5, because Sony figured out a way to prioritize digital, but they still offer a disk drive add-on for those that prefer their physical media. I would like to see Xbox do something similar next generation. Just sell a disk drive add-on and be done with it. I think that would be the most logical thing to do. But without a doubt, I do kind of expect their next generation console to be all digital, in the sense that I don't think they're going to continue to make physical games moving forward. Now, I could be wrong about that, and hopefully I am, but I do feel like the writing is kind of on the wall by this point. Xbox gamers, for the most part, do prefer digital media, especially compared to other platforms. I think a part of that is because of things like Xbox Game Pass. But even before that, Xbox customers have always been a little bit more accepting towards digital media. I mean, frankly, even Xbox's physical releases anymore don't actually offer the game on disc. So I just feel like there is a very good chance that Xbox Helix will move to digital only. What do you all think about this, though? And what would you like to see them do for fans that do have a physical library of games? Would you like a disc drive add-on similar to what we've been seeing on the PlayStation 5, or do you think a physical to digital program is enough? Now, one last thing before we go, though, because of course Nintendo just announced the inevitable Switch 2 price hike. They are moving it to $500 starting this September, but here's the thing. Nintendo just announced a new Switch 2 Choose Your Own bundle that could move a lot of units before they're forced to raise its price. Again, Nintendo doesn't want to raise price because it will impact how many consoles they can sell. And it's still just so early in the generation for them. So they don't want to hurt their momentum, and that's where this new Choose Your Own bundle comes into play. As you can see here on Nintendo's website, they said starting in early June, participating retailers will offer the Nintendo Switch 2 Choose Your Game bundle for the suggested retail price of $500, which includes a Nintendo Switch 2 system and a download code that can be redeemed for a digital version of one select game. The bundle will be available for a limited time at participating retailers and offers a value of up to $30 compared to purchasing the system and game separately, with a choice of Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong Bonanza or Pokemon Pokepia. So there you have it. $500 will get you the Switch 2 and a really good game. Now, technically, Mario Kart World would be the best choice in terms of just raw savings because it is an $80 game, but all three games are absolutely fantastic, and it'll help push a lot of Switch 2 units for the foreseeable future. Seriously, though, I mean, if you've been on the fence about getting a Switch 2, starting this June and until September, it seems like that will be the best window to pick one up before that eventual price hike. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.